Hi, this is John with Fix It Planet. Today we've got another pair of Beat Studio 2.0 B0501, and they're not charging. So just to confirm, we're going to plug them in, no lights. Charge port is loose. You can see there's a lot of wiggling there, no light. So we have no charge. We're going to open this thing up and take a look inside. This repair is from start to finish with some bonus footage at the end. So we can just replace the charge port, or we can repair the charge port. Those two screws at the bottom there are different than the ones we just took out, so keep those separate. There's not going to be any need to take this apart anymore. We've got access to where we need to be. I'm going to take the little rubber mat there off and this tape. Just be careful not to rip any cables or tear any cables in the process. It's kind of sticky. Now, this charge port has obviously been damaged. It's completely fallen off. And take a closer look here and see that it has also torn all the pads off. So as you can see right here, all these pads are completely gone. As a matter of fact, they are still attached to the pins on the charge port itself. Now, we are going to rebuild or rework or repair this charge port at the end of the video. If you stay and watch through the whole video, we'll show that process from start to finish. So what we're going to end up doing now is showing a comparison between the B0500, which is the wired version of this model, and compare the two charge port boards, and you will see that they are not interchangeable. So if you happen to have the charge port, this is fairly straightforward, easy repair. You're just going to swap out the boards. Nothing to it. So in this case, we do happen to have one. This is what it looks like. And we'll compare again. Just for comparison purposes, you will see that they are identical. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to take the board off of the donor headset, and we're going to go ahead and replace it, and we'll do a test and put it all back together. So that will complete this repair for the purposes of this video. But we're going to have some bonus footage at the end of the video. Basically, if you don't have the charge port available to swap out, or you can't get one, don't have one, or whatever, we're going to show you how you can fix the one that is completely destroyed. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and disconnect the wiring off of this board. You'll want to pay attention to the colors of these cables when you're doing this, so that you can remember where they go. Obviously, you will need some flux, a soldering gun of some sort, soldering iron of some kind, and maybe some solder. So what we're going to do now is just kind of do what would normally be a tinning the pads on this donor board, but there's still plenty of solder on them, so we don't need to really replace the solder or clean them up or anything. They'll be fine the way they are. Now we're going to take the damaged board off of the headset we're repairing, and we just apply a little bit of flux on the joints we want to remove to make it a little easier. And then we're going to set that board to the side, and we'll come back to it at the end of the video. Now we're going to take our known good donor board, and we're going to go ahead and solder our wires back on. Now if you'll pay close attention, you'll notice that I soldered these in the wrong location. The green and red wire are not where they belong. And we'll notice that here in a minute and correct it. See, we can't put our red wire where we want it. No good. So let's move our wires over. There we go. Now we can put our red wire back where we want it to go. And we're good. Just gonna check them all with a little bit of tug. Tug on them a little bit, make sure they're connected good. And now we'll clean off some of that flux with some alcohol. Now we'll just plug them in real quick, make sure that everything's working. As you can see, the joints are all nice and clean. Cables are where they belong. And we haven't done any other damage to the board. In this process, if you're careful, there's no reason to knock off any other components. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in now. And as you can see, it is now charging. So we're going to go ahead and put everything back the way it goes. And that will complete the repair. If you're watching for this purpose, then that's pretty much it. But stay tuned, because at the end of the video, we're going to do something with the damaged charge port and get it working again as well. Kind of watch out for that little piece, that little rubber sleeve that the microphone is in, because you really kind of want that to be fairly well lined up so that it's not muffled or anything. Remember, we had two different screws for the charge port dock. We're going to use those and put our little rubber cover there back on, and our tape back over the wires again, and make sure everything lines up. Put our other screws back in. In this case, all these screws are magnetic, so that helps, and they're also just a standard Phillips head. Now, you can replace the adhesive on these ear cushions, but if you take it off carefully, you can reuse the original adhesive. Just do what you got to do. Now, as you can see, it is charging, so we're going to go ahead and leave this here and let it charge while we get ready to start on this damaged connector. Okay, so first off, we're going to get a close look at the board, and we're going to show how we're going to look at this very closely, and we're going to see where everything needs to be dealt with. We're going to expose the copper from underneath these the traces, and so we'll have to scrape away some of the masking, and we're going to reconnect with some jumper wire. And there's nothing really connected at the bottom. The far left pin does have one small ground connection, so we'll make sure that we get that on there. Now, a closer look here, you can see where we've exposed the copper under the traces that we want to reconnect. And then we're going to tin them with some fresh solder. And there's what it looks like when they have fresh solder on them. So now we'll be able to put our new jumper wire in place. But first, we're going to go back and take a closer look at this connector. So this just had those pads removed, and unfortunately it did not show up very clearly, but as you can see, the pins are now exposed, and all the old copper traces from the pads are gone. Now we have our small jumper wires in place, connected back where we want them to go, and then we're going to be able to get it ready for the charging port itself. So now we've got some fresh flux down in the areas where the old charge port's going to go back. The legs didn't break off inside the post holes, so we're just going to make sure that they're not bent. And as you can see, the pins are now soldered to the new jumper wires that we added, and they're making a connection to their respective locations, as well as both legs being mounted. So now we're going to test it on the same pair of headphones just to show that it works. So if you're not able to get another charge port donor board or anything like that, and your board is looking like this one, don't lose hope. You can fix it. Okay, these wires are nice and solid. Now, as you'll see, we'll plug it in and lights right up. Power's on, power's off. And just to kind of show that we're not playing any trickery here, there is that board that I repaired with the original connector. As you can see, it is lit up and charging, even though it looks like the battery is fully charged. So hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye bye now.